Okay, this is the August 9th, 2021 Metaphysical Group Zoom call. And our topic today is the Lionsgate portal and talking about what changes are and how things are going to be moving forward. So welcome everybody. Hello, Joni. Good to see you. Or not see you. I see your name. That's fine. So how many people know what the Lionsgate is?
I don't know it, but not
A
much.
little bit.
Just from what you've told us.
Okay. I'll go over it a little bit just in case some people may not have got the Galactic Earth Ascension group's email and meditation where I talk about it. So I'll just briefly say for it, because this will go out to the rest of the metaphysical group, that normally it opens from July 26th roughly through August 12th. And yesterday it was at its energetic maximum on 8/8. So that was why yesterday was supposed to be very powerful. And there were many things going on the internet through metaphysical sites of meditations and energetic connections because of a couple of things. They say that the sun is in Leo, which is connected to the heart center and is related to courage, strength, and expression. And also Leo is good for anchoring in ascension, light codes, and higher consciousness. And through the star Sirius, because this gateway, the Lionsgate gateway, is marked by an alignment between Earth and Sirius. And so Sirius is known for creating opportunities of new beginnings, mastery, and basically, again, progression on the ascension path. And interesting, he said Sirius moves closer to the Earth and aligns with Orion's belt, which is aligned with the Pyramid of Giza. And I noticed the synchronicity of them talking about that because this Galactic Earth Ascension group has worked with a sacred triad connection of Rigel, which is in the Orion constellation. And other sources have said that Orion is like the main informational and energetic center for the Earth ascension progression. That's why it's tied into the Egyptian pyramids so much, and the energies are tied in that configuration of Orion's belt, which is in many places around the planet, is so powerful. So I thought it was interesting that one of the group's experiences was the creation of a sacred triad which used Rigel, which is in the Orion constellation. And numerologically, the 8 is the number of infinity and energy of empowerment and balance. And it says it supports manifestation now because it's the energies between the physical and the spiritual are merging together more. So this allows for easier access to energies to flow between the realms. And so basically, again, bringing in new levels of consciousness and global awakening on many shifts. Pat, you know about 8. How would you say 8 relates spiritually to maybe what's going on?
Well, I think you're pretty much saying it when it talks about the balance. 8 is definitely balance between the spiritual and the physical. And one of the things too with an 8 is that it has to do with organizations. Many times people with a strong 8 in their numerology, like I have, often end up being organizers and directing groups, because that's part of what the 8 is learning, is balancing, learning to do, creating and working with groups of people. So working in groups would definitely be part of what's strengthened in this, that we need to work together. There are more leadership that will probably come out of it, people who have leadership or strong 8 affinity will probably start to use that more, be in a position to do more with that. And so the thing with the 8 though is not being too materialistic, keeping the balance, because there's a tendency to also work with the material world a lot. There's, you know how 2 4s make an 8, and the 4 is the material world, creating on the physical world. So the 8 thing has to be careful with finances, working with finances in a positive way. That's another thing that sometimes the 8 energy needs to have a balance with. But Leo's the lion, you know, and that's interesting. That's the 8th, you know, that this is the 8 with Leo the lion, because Leo is in charge. Leos want to be in charge. They want to direct. They're sensitive. They need to be appreciated. So Leo energy needs to be appreciated and loved. You know, like, oh yeah, this is great. Wonderful Leo. So Leos tend to want to kind of do their own thing. They're in charge. So once again, it's a leadership sign that's being emphasized again. And it's also very bold and very protective. Leos are very protective of people they care about. And so that energy's there. And of course, with what we're working with, the energies is very protective energies as well. Trying to work and to protect the earth and everything. So kind of those little threads are in there.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Does anybody else have anything to share about what they've heard of energy shifts, especially, you know, yesterday or going on?
There, I show this book. It's Infinity Captured is 8.
Hmm.
Ooh,
Can you see that?
Yeah.
yeah.
And it says Infinity Captured because 8 is the original number 1. It goes 1, 2, 4, and 8. 8 shown on its side is also the symbol for infinity.
Mm-hmm.
And then yesterday was the culmination of the Olympics. And if you take their symbol of 5 rings, those are infinity symbols, more or less halfway on their sides.
Hmm.
It
Oh,
works.
thank you, Steve.
There's a lot of group energy with 8.
A whole lot.
A lot. Yes. And intertwined.
Yeah, about the most you can get.
Yes. Intertwining of energies and between people, groups, everything. Yeah. Very much.
Interesting then that the first sacred triad of the Galactic Earth Ascension group that Spirit said was between Mount Kilimanjaro over to Mount Fuji, and Mount Fuji had a direct connection to the Orion constellation through Rigel. And so that it, you know, and so Mount Fuji, which is where the Olympics was, and then the Lions Gate culminated energetically in the same time that the Olympics, which was doing a huge, great group activity, finished yesterday. I'm just thinking about the synchronicities, and you know that the Olympics tries to bring in the vibration of cooperation, you know, goodwill, and you know, bringing people together. And just think about the timing of this is kind of interesting, and the location, you know, which is, you know, tied to Orion, which is huge in all ancient metaphysical cultures. Any other thoughts on that?
Well, the Mount Kilimanjaro was definitely pulled in heavily for me yesterday because I could pull out, we just pulled out a diary that that Marge wrote on her trip to Africa. And, you know, there is Marge going to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro in 1980.
Mm.
And there was just a lot of energy that you could pull in with the Lion's Gate with that for myself yesterday.
Oh, neat. That's really neat. And interesting that this morning on my walk that I tapped into the Galactic Council and asked them like, well, what now? Or give me some more input. And, what's the best thing to do? And they said, keep doing the preparing of the earth energetically through what we're doing through the group, that it's really helping to create a receptivity portal for these new energies that are shifting the world, and that it's all also again in divine timing, that it's proceeding as basically it's meant to be, even though there's a lot of chaos going on now, that if you get beyond the 3D aspect and think in a higher consciousness, if you shift into that higher consciousness, you see from like a overall perspective that we need the shift in order to move forward. So any other thoughts on that and what's going on in the world or with your community or with you?
Well, like Pat said, she used the word leadership, but I would use the word guidance. Your Starwalker's guidance, not so much leadership, but guidance has empowered or opened up portals inside of ourselves. And it's and even Pat with the meditation, absolutely. It's the guidance of awakening what you need to work on every day.
Mm-hmm. I like that too, Steve.
I like that. It's the guidance of awakening.
And
I was
that's
asked,
what's
go ahead.
so exciting. That's what's so you discover. It's like being on the wooden ships and going out on voyages of discovery. You never know what you're going to find. It's what you bring back. It's what you discover on these voyages.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it interesting, like in my last email to the group, that weeks ago, Spirit said that the group energy is shifting, that, we was focusing on, Earth locations, and that it now needed to incorporate another vital component, which is helping basically guide awakening of the individuals. And it's interesting they use so that we could move into our destiny of being galactic humans. And that's the purpose of this work, so that we're all shifting. And that's why I'm bringing in more of empowerment, self-empowerment for everybody, whatever path they choose, but allowing that self-empowerment, that's going to shift the world. That's going to help raise the consciousness, because we're holding that higher vibration, which affects others, positively or negative, how we're holding it. And so the more we're holding it, the more the earth is holding this higher vibration, that we find that we're clearing ourselves, we're finding out our true divinity, our true inner purpose. And that's sort of the part of it. And that's an equal component to the earth arising, is us arising in all of this. Bless you.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
all right, any feedback on that, or something to, how did that feel, or what are you noticing in your life that's maybe shifting even the last few weeks?
Well, for me, it's interesting how things are just spontaneously coming into my life. Like I did workshops the last 2 weekends, how different things come into your life that if you, that's an opportunity to learn something more energetically or whatever. And that's wonderful to look for those. Keep open for things like that and take the plunge. Look around. Things that can also help to things are coming to us all the time, and sometimes we just don't latch on to what could be a good opportunity for things. So that's what I would suggest to look. I think things are happening faster sometimes, the more that we're open to it, to wanting to learn and grow. It's kind of cool. And I think, for example, attending groups like this and just listening and thinking about it, we're putting together a consciousness among ourselves. It strengthens that. And that's, again, a group thing on one level, where we're making communication lines between ourselves. And those are important to do with each other, for each other. Hey, Trish, how is all that for you? What are you noticing for any of these things? Have you noticed anything, or interest or exploring anything, or questions about any of this? Any help that you need in helping yourself to be able to grow in this direction?
I just noticed that my personality has changed. Like, I'm becoming more generous, and I'm doing things like that's not normal for me. And I'm like, what's happening? It's like, I feel like a different person or something. I can't explain it.
Great, because you've been having some interesting experiences.
Yes.
And I think they do change us in ways that are not cognitive. It just is total, you know.
I know this sounds stupid, but sometimes when I'm talking, it doesn't sound like it's like, I can't explain it. Like, it's not me, it's something, I don't know how to explain it, because I never experienced some of this stuff before, so I don't know how to explain it. And
I
it's like,
understand what you're talking about. That's
Okay.
happened to me.
Yeah.
That's happened to me. I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
and it's like, where's this voice coming from? I know it's me talking, but it's like, it's not, I don't know. It's like weird. Can you explain it?
I
I
think
thought I was going crazy.
I think you're tuning in to being more open and receptive to another higher awareness that's in you. In other words, there's a lot of higher awareness that our thinking mind cuts off a lot of times. So know that you become a little more open, a little more experiencing some of that stuff. I think you're starting to almost like your own opening to your own channeling of something more that you are, a higher wisdom, a higher knowledge. And it's like integration. It's more you're integrating more in a balanced way, which is kind of what we're talking about too. Integrating in a more balanced way and receiving some intuitive information, another part of who you are beyond the body, beyond the mind, because you are something else. And the more that you open up to that and don't resist it, just, yeah, there it is. It starts to open up more. So you're flowing more, you're more integrated. And it's different.
Yeah, it is different.
It's fun though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Feels good, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I called you because I had an experience I didn't understand. I still don't I can't even explain it. So I was trying to think how to describe it. And only thing I could think of was like a snowman before you put the face on.
Mhm.
Because it was like, it was a body, but it wasn't flesh. It was like,
Like a white body, almost like a light. Was it light?
Yeah, it was light, and there was nothing around it, like nothing, just like, I don't know, I never seen anything with nothing around it before. No clouds.
I think you're experiencing another little dimensional shift into being who you really are more. I call it the light body experience, where you start to be aware of you're being something on a more of a higher dimensional level, a more spiritual level. And it can be very, very interesting and very different, but it felt good. Did it feel good to you?
It felt good, and I didn't know what to do, because I'm like, what is this? And it was like just standing there, like, I guess like wanted me to say something. And I was like, I was so shocked, because I never saw anything like that in my life. And I'm like, then it just went away and I never saw it again. But I don't want to chase something away. I want to, know what to do.
Well, it's interesting. Deb taught me a lot about asking questions of whatever appears. Like, oh, who are you? Or what's happening? And I think she's very good at having some guidance in that direction.
My sister wanted to say hello.
Oh, hi.
Just say hello.
Hello, Beth. How are you?
Can you guys go ahead and talk? I'm going to
Sure.
mute for.
Yeah, okay. Tisha, that is awesome what you're doing, and I definitely agree. It is, you are awakening into your higher levels of consciousness and spiritual being that is beyond just the 3D reality. That's awesome. You're doing it. And just a couple suggestions. The light body thing, that is really a normal transition and evolution in the consciousness of what we call the ascension raising. And on the YouTubes, I have the free YouTubes. One is called how Raising Your Vibration, and it's a meditation. And that is really good because if you noticed in the meditations I do, I sort of push people to explore their light body because we're all shifting into it. And the more we can do meditations to interact with it, to acknowledge it, to help awaken it, that will really accelerate our spiritual path. So check out that meditation. I also have another one. It's called the light body, and it's called information about the light body that's on there. And you were mentioning the states of consciousness where you wondered, like, who is this other being? Again, that's awesome. You're shifting into higher dimensional levels. And what I find again with working with a light body, the more you start working with it, first is acknowledging it, like, whoa, what is this? And then you realize, okay, this is something that is for my evolution. And you start, like say, doing more meditation, start acknowledging it. And there's actually 5 levels of consciousness that I've been taught by Spirit. And when I want to really accelerate myself, I will start at the lowest one. And when you focus your attention, you're energetically merging with that object and that vibration. So I would start, and I say, I call forth my higher self, which, a lot of people, they use that terminology and that sounds like the ultimate, but what spirituals told me, that's the lowest vibration of our spirit tied to the 3D earth plane. So I start with that, saying, okay, I call forth my higher self consciousness, and then, you're quiet and you just feel what that's like. You feel it in your mind, body, and spirit, maybe stay with it for a couple minutes, just noticing what it is. And then to upgrade, you say, okay, I now call forth the Christ consciousness. And that is a huge shift into beyond just the individual self, into group evolution consciousness on a much higher level, the Christ consciousness. And if you just, you set that intent, which is so important, and you say, okay, I call forth my Christ consciousness, and you'll feel a shift in you, in your body, in your mind, just, notice something. And you stay with that for a couple minutes till you start recognizing the energy signature of each level. And I'll just do one more is then after that, I say, okay, I call forth my God self consciousness. And that is basically a much higher individual merging with our divine soul. It's much higher than the terminology of the higher self. The God self is another step above. And so then when you call it forth, through that intention, again, you just feel in your mind, your body, your spirit as you're, meditating and merging with that energy. And if you keep doing that and like doing it every day, you will start being those different aspects, which are your innate ability to be. You just haven't, most people haven't recognized them because they don't know how to get there or just haven't shifted. And so this is an exercise to really shift you into feeling, being, and then you can call it forth whenever you need to. So that's just another exercise. So.
Okay, thanks.
Can I add in that one of the terms that I like to use for what she's talking about? Christ consciousness doesn't work for me, but universal consciousness does. So you can sometimes have a different word that might even more resonate with you in that direction.
Okay.
Yeah, when Pat and me started getting together and communicating, you know, we're almost like butting heads, and then we realized we just have different terminology for the same stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like it's getting past the terminology to the understanding of the core of the essence of the subject, the energy, whatever, and
Right.
realize, oh, we're on the same page. We just call it different words.
Yep.
Does anybody else have any input on this topic we're talking on now?
Well, I just really feel excited. And in talking to friends, I mean, we're all Pollyannas, but we really are excited about the shift of consciousness that's going to be happening. And I can feel it, you know, and it's going to happen in my lifetime, I believe. I was in India with Sai Baba, and he died shortly after, but he had said he's coming back in 8 years because he wants to be with us in the golden age, which I interpret as meaning the shift of consciousness where, you know, we really actually all get there. So I'm excited.
When was that 8 years?
Well, he should be back now.
This year?
Yeah, but of course he's coming in as an infant, as a baby, so it'll be a few more years.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, my teacher talked about their transition also into the golden age. That's the Indian term for it. Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
But it's a long process.
It's a process.
Well, we've been in the long process.
Yeah, and there's a lot of chaos at first before it starts to shift and stabilize. So I think that's kind of interesting too, to understand that there are processes, just like
Well, we're
learning. Yeah,
we're in the chaos right now,
we
for
are.
sure.
We're in the chaos stage, and it could be for a while.
Uh-huh.
But
You know, and it's interesting, I sent out a newsletter and was just noticing that, you know, like beginning of 2020, that spirit was sort of preparing us, hey, the changes are coming. And then the summer, the energy amped up and was able to access higher vibrations more. And 2021 has just been gangbusters. I mean, since the spring, it's just been an upward spiral. And, you know, we're right in it, really right now. You know, people have said, oh, when's it going to come? It's like, well, it's happening now. It's happening because it's a process. But this is an opportunity because the portals are so open, the incoming energies are so ripe with these higher vibrations that we need to do this work on ourselves now, because it's easier to tap in to this higher consciousness. Like say that exercise of the 3 levels of consciousness I just shared with you, you know, that's one way, or whatever you find yourself being able to make a transition into another higher state. And it's like the other higher dimension is right here with us. And like me and Pat were discussing it recently, and you know, like we can be in the living room in a session, and when we set our intent, when we set our focus to raise a vibration to connect with these higher dimensions, in an instant it'll shift, and that higher energy will be in the same physical location, the same room, and yet we have shifted vibration. That's all it is. So the more we shift our frequency, our vibration, that we are attuning to all these galactic beings that are wanting to help us and work with us. And so it's a matter of practice more and more to keep raising your vibration. That's why I guess you say I harp on it. It's so important. You know, it shifts everything, our attention, and doing these exercises to raise the vibration. And then we can connect so much easier, because it's like now the balloon has burst and all this energy is available for us. We just need to take the time to do that. Steve, I got a question for you. You know, you go out in nature so much, and have you noticed that it seems to be shifting or changing, or when you're in nature that you're more easily able to get into a higher state?
Yes, absolutely. Nature is changing so drastically in Green Valley that it's unbelievable, because the month of July, it set a record for the history of taking monsoon measurements. And so say 8.9 inches, 8.9 inches of water on the Sonoran Desert floor equaled mass transformation of the desert floor. It's almost unrecognizable, where I could walk easily and go and find my way through the desert with the creosote in real bad condition. Now it's so lush, I can hardly even find my pathway through the desert floor. And that and everything growing up off the bottom. If you pay attention, saguaros have increased their size by 6 inches and taken on so much wealth of water into their reservoirs that they can live now through, even though we're getting more rain, they can live for half a year with the water that they received in this last month, in the last 3 weeks. So always when you go out into walk on the nature, it's just unbelievable. Like you say, you just ask Mother Nature or Gaia that you're there and what she would like to show you. And sure enough, something will happen before your eyes.
Yeah. Thank you. Like say again, it's just setting your intent and being open and aware, and the higher your vibration is, you can access more dimensional vibrational levels. And we all can do this. That's what's so neat about it, is the energies that are coming in now are just right for us to tap into. So this is our opportunity.
Uh-huh.
It really is.
You know, one of the things I learned or was repeated and I enjoyed in the last sessions I had was, especially when you're starting with something, is to use your imagination, because thought creates, energy follows thought. Where your attention is. But if you focus on something or think about something, like let's say any of the images of mountains or anything out there that comes up sometimes that Deb will send, if you actually just sit and use your imagination for a moment to go to that place, just to travel to that place, sometimes that opens up. It helps the thinking mind to let go and not be doubting. Oh, is this real? Is this, don't ever think that way. It's like reality is what you create. But how you do that is very interesting. So one of the things to do is to kind of like, oh, let me just imagine going there. And then follow it in your imagination. And all of a sudden, boom, it clicks in a lot of times for being there and other things happening. So don't doubt your abilities and have fun with things, have fun with the imaging and taking it, exploring. So that's just a little something that may for some of you be helpful. I don't know. Yeah.
I've got something to add.
Mhm.
I've been doing 3D work with with some of the people down there in Green Valley. So I've been sending them a lot of higher consciousness work.
Mm.
And just this past few days, it's like there's been a complete turnaround with some of the people. They're willing to work with one another. And they're a lot of them are stepping forward to make things right with the situation. And so it's like, good. And it's it's a nice feeling that there's a spirit of cooperation there, and it's almost like fellowship between some that didn't exist before, and I'm really happy on that. So I think that's part of this shift we're going through right now, because it's just happened within the last few days.
Wow. There's a great power in our intentions, and we should never discount that. Huge.
And it's, what you said about imagining, that's a lot of the basis of hypnosis and shamanism, the shamanic journey.
Mhm.
You know, is like you said, just you start by making it up or using your imagination, and then you start going with the flow, and then the flow will take you.
Mhm. Exactly.
And then it just starts snowballing over and over. And the more you just observe and go, oh wow, okay. And you know, you're in the flow of it, then that's when all the magic happens. Like the, you know, the shamanic journeying, or
Mhm.
you know, what will show up for you is waiting for you just to be open for it.
Mhm. And it's like you feel a shift in the
Yep.
middle. All of a sudden, it's like, woof, you're now into a reality. It's very interesting to start that.
Well, you know, it's weird. You look at nature different. Like if you go down Ono Galas, it's like I've been here almost 7 years now. All I ever saw was dirt, and in 3 weeks, it's like all this greenery. It's like, and before I probably look at it as weeds or something, but it was like I just wanted to stop and just. It's so beautiful. I just never seen so much green. It's like, it's just amazing. How can that much green come from dirt? You know, it's like overnight. It's like amazing.
There's life in everything
Yeah.
waiting to bloom.
Yes.
It's like the blossoming of our individual consciousness and world consciousness, that it's now ripe for blossoming, because the energies coming in are like the rain that has just, you know, came massively in. And with the rain, it's like the ascension energies. And so it's like, that's why I say this time is so right for us to really accelerate ourselves. And, you know, through the meditations, through studying things, there's so much on the internet, YouTube, of good stuff to learn, to meditations. And hopefully you're enjoying my YouTube channel. I've got like about 69 videos now that I've got out, you know, so please check them out. And you know, they've already given me a list of new ones to do, so I got my work cut out for me. And it's all to assist everybody in this time now, to, you know, to assist us in raising our consciousness. And, you know, we're each a vital part of it. And the galactics, or the other beings of light, like the angels, archangels, you know, the ascended masters, they are also so much available now for us to tap into. Has anybody been noticing that they've been able to tap into their guardian spirits or angels easier lately? Yep. Yep, I like that. Good. How about you, Wanda? Any neat bird experiences?
Actually, this morning I was outside working near the bird feeder. I was just below the bird feeder, and they call them a flicker, yellow-bellied flicker. It came up, landed on the feeder, and chirped at me, grabbed a seed, put it back down, chirped at me again, picked the seed back up, and took off. And it's like, but seeing the hummingbird yesterday, that was awesome, because I've lived here in our home 42 years now. This is only the second hummingbird I've seen. Of course, in town they have them because it's, you know, there's more big gardens and stuff like that. But we're out where it's really dry and not much for the plants to grow. And it came up and landed on the bee balm bush right in front of me and took off. It was so amazing to see that, just after I had finished with the meditation. So it's like, that's awesome.
Yeah, again, it's the more our vibration is up, that our additional receptivity, our senses are heightened. And so we can tap into this, you know, and start. I don't know if you noticed that, like after a rain, if you've got a plant out in the yard, a tree or something, it seems like it's just so much more alive and vibrant and just feels happy. it's like a happy little camper now. And it's, and it's like, a lot of people, if they're in 3D, they're at such a lower vibration, they're not able to tap into communicating or feeling the tree. And so because we're raising up, that we can tap into such a wide variety of amazing things in the world and outside of the world, more galactic. It's good news. It's good news.
Well, when I was sitting on our deck yesterday afternoon, just enjoying the quiet in between the motorcycles, I looked into the sky and I could actually see the energy moving around. Normally I can see, when you look at trees or the tree line or whatever, you can kind of see that little bit of energy above it, but I actually saw energy floating around. It's like, okay, is that my eyes or is it the energy? And finally I was told, yeah, that's the energy I was seeing from being, from creation.
And it's just going to get better. It's just happening so fast, so fast. So, again, if there's any questions on any of this stuff, feel free to email me or Pat. I guess I put her on the line, huh? We're here to assist and help as much as possible. So that's why we're doing that. Any questions so far or any comments? Because I did have in the agenda to do a guided meditation. Is that something that we'd like to do right now?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, all righty. And like I say, you've noticed that in my meditations, I'm pushing the traditional envelope, is that I like to get people into acknowledging and awakening their light body and having them work with the energy field that is outside the 3D skin perimeter, I should say, that you want to be outside that. And that's another really good start when you realize and feel that you are just light and energy and just, in the temporary body and not just words, but you are feeling it. You are feeling yourself as the light. So in the meditation, like I say, that's why I like to push the envelope of people to really experience it. So, okay, if we're ready, so let's see. Why don't you mute yourselves? Okay, we're all muted. Okay. All right, and as you're comfortable, just close your eyes. And go into a peaceful inner state of being. Just into that light within. The feeling of peace, love. And if you wish to, you can use your breath through some deep breaths, if you wish, to strengthen this connection. Going deeper, relaxed in your body, mind, and spirit. Now moving your focus on your heart center and imagining or feeling or seeing a brilliant ball of white light in your heart. and expand this white ball of light in your heart. You now fill the whole chest. And let that light now flow down into your hips, your legs, to your feet. As that light now goes upward into the throat, the head, and allowing that divine light to fill each of your chakras, intending that they raise in vibration with your light. And now, as you're feeling your inner light body, move it out a couple feet outside your skin perimeter in every direction. Letting your light body move outward. Maybe noticing how freeing that feels. How comfortable it is to be free of the body. To just be this light and energy. And now we're going to practice raising our consciousness by using your attention and calling forth what I call the higher self, which is the connection between the 3D body and our God self level and our higher self level at the 3D plane. As you call forth this shift, notice what it feels like. Now we're going to experience raising to another vibration. With your intent, call forth the Christ consciousness or universal consciousness, whatever represents this high vibration of love, compassion, and feel what it's like. Now to experience another level of consciousness. Use your intent to call forth the God self. This is an individualized, highest potential of your soul vibration merged into your light body field. And notice how this is different. Feel it and fully be this divine high energy. And now taking these three aspects that are your levels of consciousness, we're going to move into another dimensional shift. This time, the intent to connect with, to merge, and totally be one energetically with the Lion's Gate Ascension portal energies that are an opening of higher frequency galactic ascension energies. So now be open to receive and merge as one with these energies. as you are at one with this energy. It is merging into every filament of light in your light body, and also filling up every cell, atom, photon, being of your physical body. As you are raised in vibration, and knowing that you can remember which each of these different levels, how they have felt differently. And you can access them anytime in meditation through your intention of just calling them forth. So holding this vibration with you now. It's time to come back into waking consciousness. Feeling your physical body. Feeling your fingers and toes. Your breath. And now opening your eyes. We're at the end of the hour. So if you wish, we can just end on this high note. And if you wish, you can go into your another personal meditation if you wish. Or if anybody has any feedback, they're welcome to. If not, we'll just end this. So any feedback? Thank you, Steve. That's always so awesome. We could do that for another hour. Well, blessings, my friend. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day. And until we meet again, much love and light. Namaste.
Namaste. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Everyone.
Yeah, we're staying on them. So I'm stopping.